You're listening to this episode on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment. It would greatly benefit the show.
I
don't remember the theme song.
You don't remember the theme song?
No, not. Oh, what the hell is that?
You're stepping on a chord there. That is not what Tom Cruise would do. That's what Simon Pegg would do. That's not what Tom Cruise would do.
Were they setting up Simon Pegg to be the next lead?
No, there's no way you lead. And this is the non-spoiler section. Welcome to Movie Baiters with the Farx brothers. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kirk.
And we're doing a walk and talk right after Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning.
Final Reckoning.
Final, because this isn't Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2 or Avengers Infinity War Part 2. This is Mission Impossible Endgame. I am strongly going to recommend not seeing this movie unless you're going to see it in IMAX for IMAX purposes, or unless you're, trying to boost your thetans or something like that.
What's thetan?
Okay, so if I'm remembering correctly from South Park, it's what the Scientologists believe you have inside of you. And when they do audits, they tell how strong or how many thetans you have inside of you. And that's something to do with, I don't really understand. Like, that's how you work your levels up in the world of Scientology.
Oh, so is that a real scientific thing?
It's a real Scientology thing, thetans. Because they do your thetan count. And I think you have more thetans in you. Because when Xenu or whatever the alien was hit the volcano, it released a bunch of spirits that then go into our... Did you watch
like
that?
The midichlorians. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, go on.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Shelley Meskovich, hope you're hearing this.
Who is that?
So the head of Scientology, Mr. Miskovich or Miskovich, I don't care, look it up. His wife hasn't been seen in like 20 years and everyone assumes she's just dead.
Wow.
Yeah. So you kind of wonder like, Tom Cruise must be pretty high up in the organization. Like, I always wonder if these Mission Impossible movies are just like an allegory for
Scientology?
what the Church of Scientology is like at the top.
It's crazy.
I mean, I'm sure that this will hurt us if we ever try to get further in Hollywood.
Wait, why would it hurt us?
Because Scientology is a very wealthy private organization that does not have tax status, or like they don't have to pay taxes because they're a religion.
Oh, okay.
Because, what's his name? L. Ron Hubbard. I'm one of the worst writers ever. And I think he wrote like the most books or something like that. Oh. And he couldn't because they were terrible. They were all first drafts or what. I haven't tried to read more than the 3 pages I read in like the Church of Scientology when they had one downtown St. Paul. And I'd like walk through. Also, we're outside.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of background noise.
You hear the cars and stuff? You think you'll hear those?
It might be, but that's okay.
I like to think it adds to the Mission Impossible-ness of...
Yeah? How does that add to the Mission Impossible-ness?
Because they're outside and they've got, things going on and things going wrong. So where are you at? Who would you recommend this movie to? We gotta find a bait somewhere.
Who would I recommend it to? People in the Church of Scientology, probably. I would recommend this movie to them. Because Tom Cruise is in it. They're probably going to love him in it, right? So
a stand-up comedian or a friend that now does stand-up comedy, but I met him through improv. I'll use his stage name now, Jeff Paul. Walked into the Church of Scientology and got a tour once, like 10 plus years ago. And we're going through, and it used to be the Science Museum in downtown St. Paul, but now it's the Church of Scientology. I think it's since moved somewhere else. And we're just going around, getting the full tour from one of these Scientologists. And they take us up into their like 200-seat theater.
Whoa,
that used to, and they're like, I was like, do you only show Scientology movies here? And they're like, no, we have get-togethers and we show lots of different mainstream movies. And we're like, oh, so what movie are you showing? And they're like, Top Gun.
Oh, because of Tom Cruise.
Well, we both paused, looked at our, Scientology tour guide and we're like, is that because he's a famous Scientologist? And they were like, no, I guess, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah, wow. It's like drinking the Kool-Aid. It's so ingrained in them, they didn't have to think about it.
I don't know. When we did our audit at the end, they kind of like shoved us out because they could tell we weren't serious. But I was super curious about like, what the heck's going on here in this very pristine building that used to be the Science Museum in downtown St. Paul. I have a friend who won't see Tom Cruise movies simply because of that episode of South Park.
Wait, there's a episode of South Park with Scientology?
Trapped in the Closet. I think it's Trapped in the Closet. In one of them, they explained all of Scientology, and it's since, I think, been taken down from the streaming services. It might be back up just because it's, you know, it's not like showing Muhammad, where you can't show Muhammad, or, you know, certain other religions will get very, very upset.
Don't they show off Satan?
Yeah, but the Christians aren't going to kill you because you show Satan. None of the religions of the world are going to kill you because you have. And like, going back to the movie, there's a lot of. How did you feel about the geopolitical stuff that, you know, I don't want to give away because it's non-spoilers, but
I thought it was really surface level, because they don't even ask any of the other countries. You don't get a representative person from the countries actually talking.
You do get representations of the Russians, and they are bad guys.
Yeah, they're also bad guys.
This movie had more balls than Top Gun Maverick. So at least that I can give it credit for, is that it was better than Top Gun Maverick because it had more balls.
I wouldn't call this better than Top Gun Maverick.
No, it wasn't. Well, also, like, what is it with them trying to make me believe Tom Cruise is great with women? I'm sure.
Yeah, what is that?
I'm sure. The one scene in this movie that could be, again, don't want to spoil it, but considered a love scene, is so sexless. It's like in Top Gun Maverick when he's with Academy Award winner Jennifer Connelly, and it's like they just look at each other, and the power of looking at each other, and then like they're lying in a bed wearing their clothes. I own that movie, and this kind of made me want to go rewatch that movie for Maverick? The IMAX scenes, and then like Tom Cruise is a weird dude.
I agree. I don't understand why they find him so attractive. Like, is it the whole he saves the world, so that's why I find him attractive?
I think most people would be attracted to a person who does incredible, amazing stunts. Like in real life, there are people in the military who do incredible things, and that I could see being attractive to some people, if not a lot of people. And a lot of this movie made me go, hell yeah, America, America, fuck yeah. And there was, you know, flags and stuff like that to make me go, yeah, fuck yeah, America.
I feel like it wasn't as overt as they did it in Top Gun Maverick. I feel like there's a lot of fuck yeah, America.
Yeah, but it's fuck yeah, America against who? Well, they didn't say who in Top Gun Maverick, because that was before, that was the same year that the Russians invaded Ukraine, but they had written the movie before then. So they didn't know the movie wasn't going to be able to show in Russia, which isn't the biggest place to make money. Yeah. But they did take, I think it was a Taiwanese flag off of Tom Cruise's flak jacket or something, because he had been to Taiwan or on a mission or something. And obviously China doesn't recognize Taiwan as, it's Taipei, and how dare you say anything else. And to all the Chinese, leaders in the CCP, let me be very clear. Taipei, if John Cena can be brought to his knees and
apologize in Mandarin. Yeah.
So that's the thing I get out of this movie, is that it's an American product, not for America.
Yeah, I guess I could see that a little bit.
It's going to do much better overseas than it does here.
People like seeing Tom Cruise run for a long time.
Action movies do better overseas.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Look at the Fast and Furious eye.
Yeah, I guess in China they do a lot better, right? Or is it a different country?
Well, that's why John Cena had to apologize, because it meant 100 million to 200 million in box office to show F9 in China. So these are the things I'm thinking about during the movie, because it's not as good as Thunderbolts, which actually had a through line and a plot I could follow. Whereas they had Tom Cruise run on completely useless missions for the first half of the movie until they got to the cool stunts.
This doesn't feel like a spy movie, right? I mean, I feel like Mission Impossible has become less and less spy and just more action-y.
This is a Fast and Furious movie. See,
but it's not as dumb as the Fast and Furious series.
Honestly, it was dumber than Fast and Furious for me, because at least I'm having a good time in Fast and Furious. Mm-hmm. And honestly, the thing that precedes what could be interpreted as a love scene is just a redux of what happens to Dominic Toretto in F9. And I dare anyone to tell me that that's not,
Is that the one where, spoilers for F9, he returns on his family, right?
That's F8.
Oh, what the hell is F9 then?
F9 is where it cuts back to him and his brother John Cena.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's so much to follow this stupid Fast and Furious series.
How dare you say stupid? What's your relationship to Mission Impossible? Did you watch them all? Like, when did you start watching them? How young were you?
When did the third one come out?
2005 or 6.
Yeah, maybe then. 2005, let me do some math. It's like 20 years ago?
Yes, 2005 was 20 years ago. So 20
I've
years
been
ago.
like 13?
Okay, so you were a teenager. I was sub 10 years old, I think, when I first saw a Mission Impossible because...
Which one?
The first one on VHS. So when they put a VHS into a VHS player in this movie, I giggled.
Yeah, I noticed that.
A lot of this movie, at best, it gave me chuckles.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of callbacks, but I didn't get them all.
So Quentin Tarantino's all up his own ass about like how movies are becoming TV. Nothing felt more like TV to me than this movie. And anyone interested in this movie who's on the fence, unless you're going to go see it in IMAX, don't see it. Wait for it to be on your streaming platform. You can buy it on disc because it's just not a good...
What do you mean like it's the most TV movie you've seen? Like you have to watch the previous ones to understand this one?
No. In fact, I was going to ask you if you thought this one worked on its own. And I would say... Unfortunately, it does work on its own because everything you would have needed to glean from another movie, they show you in the movie, which makes it feel like TV. It's like on the previous episode of Mission Impossible, which it literally was a TV show. Leonard Nimoy, Spock was on it for a while.
Oh, but not Spock.
No, Leonard Nimoy, I said.
I know why you specified Leonard Nimoy Spock was on the show. That makes it sound like Spock was on the show.
He's inextricably linked to the character of Spock. When he died, people did the Vulcan hand symbol, even though Vulcans aren't real that we know of.
People could take a language course on Klingon, right?
Yes.
People are free to do what they want.
Klingons and Vulcans are very different. That's extremely speciesist of you.
I know.
And I'm honestly embarrassed for you.
They got those like a shield forehead. I don't know what you call that.
I'm struggling for what to even debate about this movie just because it's like, I don't know. Tom Cruise, where are you at? Like, are you pro or anti Tom Cruise?
I mean, I don't know that much about his Scientology stuff, and I don't watch a lot of Tom Cruise movies, so I'm probably middle of the road Tom Cruise fan. I watch his movies.
Yeah, if there's a new Tom Cruise movie, I'm going to watch it. Someone that lives in Minnesota wrote Oblivion. I like Tom Cruise movies. I don't like Tom Cruise, but I'm now having this internal battle in my head, like, who's a better actor? Daniel Day-Lewis or Tom Cruise?
Why is Tom Cruise and Daniel Day-Lewis in this argument?
Because when Daniel Day-Lewis played a pitcher, he learned how to be a pitcher so well that he could have played in the majors, according to some. When he played a cobbler, he literally went to go learn to cobble for 2 or 3 years. And, you know, every time he immerses himself in roles. Well, Tom Cruise learns how to fly helicopters upside down, which is harder and more dangerous.
Yeah, but I don't know. Tom Cruise, all he does is his own stunts. Is that like, right? I've never seen Tom Cruise like act that much. Yeah. He's the same guy in almost every movie. That
was the thing I was thinking in this movie, because there was a point where he could have cried, and like a normal human might have like let a tear out after all that. Like, man, after all that happened, just one single tear. And I don't think he could as an...
You don't think he cry on command?
No, I don't. And I don't mean that as an insult to him. It's actually, I have some sort of like reptilian brain male thing around that. Like, yeah, he's a real man. He wouldn't cry.
He wouldn't cry.
Whereas like Daniel Day-Lewis, if you were playing somebody who were in touch with their emotions and able to cry when they needed to, would probably be able to do it over and over for multiple takes for Paul Thomas Anderson. W.S. Anderson is the Resident Evil guy.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they're on the same level. They're not comparable.
You're right. Tom Cruise is way better.
No, Tom Cruise is not better.
He's made so much more money for so many more people.
That doesn't mean they're better. Just because you make more money.
The things he can do are more impressive than what Daniel Day-Lewis can do. Like, he can play characters and act, but Tom Cruise,
he can fly a plane.
Yeah, and he
can hold on to it, the side of a plane really tight.
But he did it. He did that. He strapped himself to a plane and went really high up in the air, and they put a camera on him. That counts for something.
It can, yeah, it counts. Okay.
And how about have you seen the picture of, what is it, the Burj Khalifa, where he's like sitting on top of it without any support wires, and then you got a Will Smith in and he's all strapped up and holding on to something looking scared. I've got a lot to live for.
Yeah, apparently that slap coming up.
I want to get back to Jada Pinkett Smith, who cheats on me with my son's friends.
Oh, gross. Isn't he pretty young?
I am not accusing Jada Pinkett Smith of pedophilia. I believe the person she may have been having a consensual extramarital affair with was in their late teens, early 20s.
Wait, we didn't answer which Mission Impossible did you see first as a kid?
Oh, definitely the first one.
Oh,
I think I saw it in 99 or 2000, around the time Mission Impossible 2 was getting big, and I wanted my parents to take me to it, and they did not because they thought I was too, yeah, and that's stupid, and that's why I would never do that to my children, because my parents were wrong, and, well, my adopted parents, were brothers.
Take your kids to Thunderbolts.
I did take my kids to Thunderbolts, and I'm happy I did, because they had a good time, and the younger one asked about Bob afterwards.
Nice.
Like, really, like, I'm very, very disappointed in Tom Cruise, that I hands down feel like most people, if you made them watch Thunderbolts and Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, would go Final Reckoning, yeah. Dead Reckoning Part 2. When you put on Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1, or 7 as I like to call it, it says Part 1 still at the beginning of it.
Oh,
they haven't taken
that?
No.
Wow.
And you'd think that they have it on the streaming service. Like, we know someone that works at Paramount Plus. We should be like, hey, friend,
why aren't you changing it? Yeah.
Why aren't you guys going in there and changing that? How hard would it be? I'm sure there's some sort of
Thunderbolts marketing. They roll out that whole thing.
Yeah, but that's competent. That's clearly, and they were right, because it only dropped 55%, which is like one of the best, one of the better drops for a Marvel movie, even though it didn't open as high as other ones. We're 2 weeks out from this movie coming out, because it doesn't come out this Friday. It comes out the Friday after, and I just don't think that it's what people are looking for. It might have an okay opening weekend, but then I think it'll have a hard drop unless it holds on to IMAXs for 2 weeks. And
how was the reception for the first part? Because I don't remember.
It wasn't as good, because everyone thought, like, they should have stopped at 6. 6 is the best. Well, which one do you think is the best?
I was gonna say 3, only because of who's the main bad guy?
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, Hoffman. Yeah, he played a great villain.
The best bad guy is definitely in 3. 4, I would argue, could be in the conversation for best one, because it handles the goofy stuff.
We gotta get the actual title.
Ghost Protocol.
Ghost Protocol, yeah. And then the 5th one is
something. Don't care. The first Christopher McQuarrie one, because Brad Bird.
Fallout. It's 5, 6.
Fallout is 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Dead Reckoning Part 1 is 7. I can't. Some people say 5, but I don't know anyone who says 5 and means it. The thing about 3 is it doesn't have anything as eye-popping as the Burj Khalifa stunt that they do in 4.
Yeah, but
Ghost Protocol.
3 might be the most grounded one, though.
It's harder to follow, because they kill his wife, and then it's not his wife, it was someone wearing a mask, and that's all very confusing. I didn't care for that.
I mean, using their own tricks against him, I thought that was clever.
Yeah. And I won't say how that relates to this movie, but it kind of makes, if you've seen all of 3, and then what a bad guy says in this movie doesn't match up, because we know that that's not how 3 ended, and 6 confirms that. Also, the end of 4 confirms that, because you see Michelle Monaghan again. I don't think it's spoilers. Spoilers for other Mission Impossible movies. Anyone who's gonna care at this point has already seen his wife is with somebody else at the end of 6, and he's like Jeremy Renner in The Hurt Locker. He chooses the life over. Yeah,
what's up with Jeremy Renner? He was supposed to take over, right? The franchise, or was he not?
That was just a threat to Tom Cruise that powerful business people did at Paramount because they could.
Wow.
I'm looking at our rundown for what's with people wanting Renner to replace an action star.
Yeah, like in the Bourne series, he played the Bourne Identity, and now...
That was the Bourne Legacy he was in.
Oh, what's that? Oh, Identity is probably like prequel, right?
Bourne Identity is the first one.
Oh, I can't get these.
I think in the books
titles, right?
there is another character that is part of the same little like thing as that Bourne was a part of, but I don't know, because that's a book series where the author died and then people just kept writing it afterwards under the pseudonym of the author, Robert Ludlum, I think it was the name of the author.
And the estate allowed that?
Yeah, the estate likes that because it's kind of like how having an 8th movie will get people to go click on the first 7 tiles within the streaming service that is soon to be owned by Skydance, because Skydance is buying Paramount, however that's going to work.
I didn't think they were big enough to buy Paramount. Or maybe Paramount small.
Did you see the David Ellison executive producer credit at the beginning of this movie?
Oh, but I don't know his importance.
His father's Larry Ellison, one of the richest men on the planet. He was there with the current president early in the administration, talking about all the great things the government and big business were going to do together. Because Larry Ellison ran Oracle. I think he still is the CEO. And Oracle's like one of the larger tech companies out there.
Right. Yeah, I've heard the name. Just don't know these CEOs.
I think Larry Ellison is in the top 10 richest people in the world.
Yeah, I think we covered all we can for non-spoilers.
You want to jump into spoilers?
Yeah. Catch us in our spoiler segment.
I only have to do 500 more steps and I got my step count. Love these walk and talks.
Thank you for listening. For more on JK Productions, find us on Instagram at JK Productions Team and on Facebook, JK Productions MN.